Ik dream Ik dream
Hi guys, welcome back to Viking Ventures and a new review. I was asked to do a review of the BMW R1300GS, considering I've owned a few, so I thought I'd give it a shot. It wasn't something that I thought I'd see myself doing, to be honest. You know, considering the problems that I've had with them in the past, but why not? Let's see. Let's see what's changed. So, so here she is. The R1300GS BMW in all its glory. This is actually a demo bike on loan to me from Lloyd's in Carlisle. In my opinion, one of the better dealerships for BMW. They've always been very helpful. You know, bikes booked in and serviced and returned to me, you know, when they said it was going to be done. No waiting around for parts, things like that. They've always been really good to me. So yeah, we'll go over a few of the good points about this bike and some of the points that I don't like. Firstly, there's a very controversial styling. As you can see, it's very different to the R12 and the R1250. It's, yeah, I really am not keen on this new light. I think it looks absolutely hideous, to be honest. I much preferred the look of the older bike. The screen is very narrow. I mean, this is just, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is just the base model, but you know, I just wanted to do this review on what you're going to get for this base model, because obviously, like, they all sing and all dancing. I think it's the TE. You know, you're talking like 21.5 grand on the road, which is an awful lot of money to be spending on one of these bikes, especially if you already own an R1200 or an R1250. So hence the reason for this video: is it worth the upgrade? So yeah, touching back on the on some of the points that I don't like. The standard screen is far too small. It is tiny. It is not, you know, what I would call a very adequate screen for this type of bike. You've got the winglets that used to be on the side on the older model. They've all gone. I mean, yeah, they've tidied it all up, and I think they've done not too bad a job of integrating this radar cruise control into the bike. It just, I think, is a bit like Marmite, isn't it? You know, it's either you're going to absolutely love it or you're going to absolutely hate it. Yeah, moving away from the front. Now, the one thing that I was actually really happy about was the fact that they've gone back to Brembo, because on the 1250 the brakes were haze and they were prone to leaking, and yeah, just overall they were just a bad quality unit for the type of bike that it was. These are M54s, so I'm told. I could be wrong. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments if I am. BMW branded Brembo brakes, but these brakes, I mean, even on just the short trip to where I am now, which is a beautiful spot, yeah, the brakes felt absolutely amazing. Another thing that I wanted to say was, well, one thing I didn't like was the gearbox. I know a lot of people have said, you know, raving about the gearbox. I think it's very clunky, it's very stiff. I mean, this bike has been well running. It just didn't, yeah, it just didn't feel as nice and fluid as the old one. I know the old one had its issues. It was very clunky. You know, it could be stiff. I mean, especially like the auto blipper and the quick shifter was, you know, was always an issue on the older bikes, especially my 1200. The 1250 not so much. They kind of like ironed out a few faults by that point, but yeah, I mean, the quick shifter and the auto blip on this is absolutely seamless. It is really good. But the overall characteristics of the gearbox I wasn't too keen on. I find that the clutch is quite grabby as well. When you're at a stop and you're literally just letting the clutch out, it's like the bike is very eager, but it just feels a little bit I mean, you'll have to test ride one of these bikes for yourself. Obviously, this is just my point of view. But coming from someone who's got a lot of experience with all types of GSs, 700s, 800s, 1200s, 1250s. You know, I just thought that my input on this would be quite good, considering that the 1300 is quite a hot topic at the moment. So another thing that I didn't quite like was the what was it? I thought of something, and it just wasn't quite. Was the noise from the engine. This is considerably louder at idle and very lumpy, even more so than the 1200 and the 1250. That's something which I did not like. I mean, I found that the 1200 and the 1250 was bearable, don't get me wrong, but this is incredibly lumpy. Very noisy. It vibrates a hell of a lot, which is something which I think they're going to have to address. I'm not sure if this has even got a dampener for. Not that I can see. They usually have like a rubber dampener on the handlebars, but it's not just on the handlebars. You can feel it through the seat. I mean, I know it's a big 1300 boxer engine, but I'm sure they could have done something about the vibration from that. I just find that very vibey to me. I mean, my 1260 is a vibey engine, but nowhere near as vibey as this. Suspension feels like it's improved, definitely. I mean, I've got it in dynamic mode at the moment, and the suspension felt precise. It felt taut. I wouldn't say it was hard enough where it's going to knock your fillings out like it did on some of the older bikes. But this is definitely a vast improvement over the last suspension setup of the bike. Another thing that I wasn't really too happy about was that they haven't done a proper backlight on this bike. You know, it's still these things, and I really don't like, you know, when the way that they've integrated, because you've got your indicator on the brake light. You know, some people can't see it, and some people say, well, you know, you should be looking, but we live in the UK. A lot of people are complacent. You know, they don't see things as well. So it'd just be better to just have, even if we had in the back of here where it looks like there's a space for it, like an additional rear light or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe BMW or someone else will make an aftermarket part for it to make yourself a little bit more visible. Let's have a look at the overall finish of the bike, the quality. You know, it actually feels quite good. I mean, there's obviously a lot of plastic, but there is on a lot of modern bikes these days. You know, all the levers feel nice and tight, they're nice and precise. Clutch reservoir is much smaller than the previous model as well, which is a good thing. So it's just big chunks set in the way. I mean, yeah, everything, you know, everything feels tight. It feels nice. I mean, yeah, as I say before, it's the brakes are amazing, really good. Got the usual TFT dash. I'll just flicker on for you. It's a very BMW feel to the bike. Obviously, it's a very familiar place to be. It doesn't really feel that different to riding another GS, to be fair. So let's just have a look. It's got the normal menu system here, which is also familiar. So there's nothing really that's changed about this apart from this shortcut button, which I'm not overly too concerned about, because you know, I'm not. Yeah, I set the bike up how I want it, and then it kind of just stays there. So it didn't really do anything for me. That. Let's have a look. It's still got the usual my vehicle and all the little bits, all the information that can be given. Average fuel consumption is 44 mpg, which I think is down from the last model. I think I was getting like 55 or 56 mpg. Let's have a look. You've also got a different dash now, if I remember. Yeah, you've got like a sports dash, which I think is quite cool. You know, adds a little bit of flavour to the bike, because it was getting a bit stale. Let's go back to the main. I'm going to turn that off for a minute. But other than that, let's have a look at the engine finish. Is actually hell of an improvement over the last, because I have my own bike shop and I get a lot of these in for corrosion damage and things like that to the you know, like to the rocker covers and the barrels and the timing cover and things like that. It's yeah, I think this should be a vast improvement. And then they've got rid of the fins, so there's not so much finning in here, so it's going to make cleaning so much easier. You know, and protecting your bike and stuff like that, because obviously winters in the UK aren't obviously the coldest, but we get a lot of salt on the road. But the same finish can be found on all of these extra bits. You know, you've got the rear footrests, you've got the swing arm, I think even the no, it's just textured plastic, but overall, I mean, the bike seems to be very, very well finished. The sound is a little bit dead, it's very quiet. I know this is to comply with Euro 5, but yeah, the finish is quite good. It's really good. I like the new oil level sight glass as well. It's much more accurate and easy to see. I think even if you were absolutely covered in shit, the bike was covered in shit, and you wanted to find that out, it'd just be, yeah, just as simple, easy. Yeah, I know, I do like that. I really like that. But overall, I mean, the bike's not bad. It still feels very... Oh, someone's not pushed that back in properly. That's loose. That's a bit crap. Yeah, that is a bit crap. I know that they've raised the peg height, I think, by about 40 mil. This is just going off of what I was told in Lloyd's, obviously, because I've watched a lot of reviews on this bike, and yeah, there's a few mixed opinions. So I just thought that I would, yeah, add my own opinion into the mix. You know, I know that Teapot one, Bruce, he's done one. He was really happy with it. And he's done, I don't think there's many people who've done as many miles as he has on these machines. Chris from 44 Teeth, he's done a relatively decent review on it, and I do quite agree, just with the short ride that I've had so far. I think BMW have tried to aim this at a younger audience. I'm not sure if the younger audience will be able to afford said bike, but yeah, it just seems to be a little bit more sporty. It's got, I wouldn't say it's more aggressive, it's just with the raised seat height, raised peg height, sorry. You know, flattened seat. I don't really think the bars have really moved that much. I know there's a different mounting system, but yeah, I just think it's, are the original GS fanboys going to be upset in the direction that this is taken? I mean, I really am not a fan of that front light, and that would be enough to put me off buying the bike anyway. Yes, it has got a bit more power, a bit more torque. It doesn't really feel too much over the 1250, to be fair. I think you'd be hard pushed to even notice a difference. That's just my experience with it. Would I sell my Multistrada and get one of these? Definitely not. No chance. It's yeah, it's just a very refined bike, without a doubt. Very refined. It seems to be very well made. I especially like this this steel plated subframe. I think that's quite a good touch, is that, obviously, because that's added huge amounts of strength to the back of the bike at the same time as making it lighter. And this bike, it feels relatively light. You know, it's yeah, I wouldn't say that I could feel any difference whatsoever, to be honest, between this and the 1250 or the 1200. I think, obviously, you know, if you owned it and you had it for a considerable amount of time, you know, you would you'd start to pick up on a few different little weight things. But obviously, I've only got this bike for the day, so you know, I'm just touching on what I can feel right now. Other than that, you've got like a nice little cubby hole in the front of the bike with a USB charging point, which is a nice touch. It'd be better if they could make that probably contactless. I'm not sure if BMW will make something so this can be converted to contactless in the future. But you've got, like, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a little USB port in there which you can move to make it easier for you to plug your cables in and stuff like that. I thought that was quite a nice little touch, attention to detail. But yeah, other than that, the mirrors aren't overly vibey. You know, you've got good vision at any speed, pretty much. Yeah, and the bike feels well balanced. As I say, it's just a few of them bad points. The engine, yeah, that screen and that light. To be fair, I don't know why they've done that. I think they might have had to make it smaller to accommodate this, the radar cruise control. But it's a beautiful day. It's only 6 degrees, but we'll take her for a spin and see how she does. So so I'll catch up with you on the road.
Right, let's get going. Let me do something with these grips, because it's a little bit warm for me. Set that back down to 1. So the shortcut button for this is obviously is a hell of a lot. It makes things like this a lot easier. It just isn't really necessary, especially when it was just a button on the old setup, which was just it's so simple, isn't it? You know, just press a button and it works. So other things. Now this bike didn't come with the electrical adjusted windscreen, which I just think is unnecessary as well, really. I mean, I think if you're that lazy that you can't, you know, reach forward and turn a knob, I don't know. You know, some people like that sort of stuff. I particularly don't. Yeah, so let's. I just want to get out on the road and give it a ride and see what this machine can do. But yeah, when you first get on the bike, it is a very familiar place to be. Obviously, it's typical BMW. It definitely sounds relatively the same, probably a bit noisier. Exhaust note is quite quiet on the stock exhaust. I just want to try and find some back roads, to be fair. Try and keep off the main roads. I want to see what this thing's like in some twisties. But bit of a skiddage. But I think, yeah, BMW have tried to aim this bike at a younger audience. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, it certainly feels quick. Yeah, it certainly feels quick. It definitely got shed loads of torque, which is something which I really loved about the old bike. Yeah, this feels very nimble, very light, very flickable. I mean, I'm not sure if you'd notice it off the other bikes. I mean, certainly you would off of the. I didn't have the adventure bike, you know. I had the normal GS. Oh, look at a little pussy cat. Meow. But yeah, I mean, the brakes are incredible. Just do a bit of a test right here. I mean, yeah, they are. And you got the little SOS light that comes on because you've done an emergency stop. You see, things like that are a nice touch. And the quick shifter is so smooth. That is definitely a massive improvement over the old bike. Now, because we're near Carlisle, I don't really have much of a clue as to where the hell I'm going. So we're gonna just kind of, I mean, usually I'm quite good at directions, so we'll just ride and see what happens, shall we? Because yeah, I've got no other option. Whee! Bit of a power wheelie there from a GS. I mean, this is certainly a more lively machine. There's no question about that. This is definitely a more lively bike. They've breathed more life into an already brilliant bike. I mean, I mean, people said it was a multi-strada destroyer. I mean, I'm not quite sure about that, to be honest. Even my 1260 is far faster than this, but I mean, this is a massive improvement over the GS. It really is. The standard bike in terms of power. And the way that it manages its weight is really good. The gearbox is super smooth. I mean, even let's just drop down. Let's just get the revs right the way down, because let's face it, most people that have a GS, you know, they just potter around, you know, not really too much interest in going too quick. Let's see how that. I mean, that is absolutely seamless, even at low RPMs. You know, just barely touching the throttle. Let's try down. Let's see. Absolutely smooth as silk. That is yeah, I can't give that enough credit. That is absolutely superb. BMW, hats off to you. That's an excellent job. and excellently executed. Very nice. Now let's just try a few of the different rider modes. So at the moment we're in dynamic. Let me just put this, I'm not interested in eco, not interested in rain. Let's try road. Right, that was quite a harsh bump that, so let's clutch in a second. Come on, clutch in, there we go. Right, that has immediately made the bike squishy, but not as squishy as the last bikes. Yeah, I think that would be comfortably bearable, I think would probably be the best word for this. Now I do have to be careful because I haven't got a frigging clue where I'm going, as I said. So I know, let's have a look, that's taking us back to Carlisle. Yeah, let's go this way. I wonder if this will take us back the way we were before, but I mean, yeah, first to second through the quick shifter is a little bit janky. I'm not sure if that's just because I've just literally changed mode. Let's just try the back brake out quickly. Okay, back brake is very good. Let's try bottom end torque. Very good. I don't know what that light means. Something flashing. I'm not sure if that's a TC or the when the bike wants me to change gear. I tell you, motorbike, when to change gear, not the other way around. So I just think from a younger rider's perspective, the GS, it does feel, yeah, it feels nice. It feels a good place to be. And now I'm not sure, you know, what it's going to be like, you know, for like any long distance tour or anything like that. I've not seen anybody that's done anything yet. There's a few other lads have done like, you know, day trips in Spain and things like that, but that's only on a day. You know, what's it like to ride this bike for a week? You know, because I know that the old bikes, the standard seats were a bit shite, to be honest. Yeah, I wasn't really overly impressed with the standard seat on either the 1250 or the 1200, and even the comfort seat that I brought, it wasn't really much cop, to be honest. I mean, I'm 6'3" and nearly 15 stone. This feels perfectly fine to me. At the minute, you know, just nipping around some of these back roads and stuff, but yeah, I don't know, we'll have to just see. And that lowering suspension thing, you know, when you come to a stop, it lowers itself down for you. You know, I think that's going to benefit the shorter riders, but I think if you're over 6 foot, that is just a complete waste of time. I really don't see the point in having something like that myself, to be honest. It's the same with these blind spot detection mirrors and things like that. That is just going to just add to riders becoming complacent. It's, you know, you're going to end up relying on this technology, and then one day that technology is going to let you down, and then that's either going to be your life or someone else's. So I'm not sure. I mean, that's just my take on it. Someone else's will be different, but I just think, you know, if you really can't be bothered to turn your head and do a lifesaver check, then you shouldn't even be riding a motorbike in the first place, to be fair. Yeah, I just think these things are all just distractions, you know, not something which is necessary on a motorbike. You know, like radar assisted cruise control. It's just a gimmick. You know, it's something which I'm sure will be nice, but do you need it? No, you don't. Not in the slightest bit. This is actually quite a nice road, this. Sorry, I'm easily distracted these days. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the power is I can definitely feel a little bit more power now. Like, as I say, the brakes are absolutely amazing. I know a lot of Ducatis and a lot of other BMWs use these brakes, but yeah, massive improvement over the last. But yeah, touching back on the cruise control, I mean, I've done thousands and thousands of miles, and I find that the throttle on these bikes is so. Oh, that's nice. Behave yourself, Chris. Yeah, the throttle is so light that you don't really, you know, I mean, do you really need cruise control? I think if you needed to scratch your ass or make an adjustment, then yeah, fair enough. But I mean, it's all down to personal preference, isn't it? It's not really, not one person's opinion is going to be right on this. I just think from, you know, a rider's perspective, You know, do I need it? No, I don't. The bike is, you know, nice and easy to use. You know, I just feel as if I don't need it. But obviously, you know, I wouldn't condone anybody to buy a bike without first test riding it. So, you know, it might work for you and it might not. It's one of them things. Right, where was that? That's Blackford, so I remember that. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more wind buffeting than the standard bike. I'm talking about the 1250 or the 1200. As I say, I'm quite tall, but in saying that, a few other tall riders have tested this bike. That flashing is properly doing my head in. That is so distracting. Yeah, I'll spin around up here and we'll start making our way back, because I need to make sure the directions stay fresh in my head. But other than that, I mean, once you're physically riding the bike, it's lovely and smooth. It really is. But I really do think that the proper GS, I mean the proper GS fanboys, are going to be a little bit upset about this bike. I don't know. I just think that is it trying to merge itself into the realms of the Multistrada, of the XR, you know, those types of bikes, and it's not really a place for the GS to belong, because the GS is kind of like it's set the benchmark, you know, for adventure bikes. You know, adventure bikes. You know, this bike will go everywhere. Will do anything. It won't be perfect at any one thing, but I think this bike is a step from BMW to kind of like to point it in a direction where the GS I don't think belongs, because there's other bikes that kind of like fit that bill. I mean, the GS was already really good to begin with. You know, why try and steer it then into I mean, I know they're trying to make it more appealing to the younger riders, but that's just the stigma which has come with GS ownership. It's just the average age group for somebody to own a GS is in your late 50s. You know, it's a midlife crisis sort of thing. You know, I want to go on tour, see all the countries I didn't see when I was younger, and you can't question that the GS is an exceptional bike at doing that. But have they compromised that by trying to push this out to a younger audience? And I just think, well, the idea I think was there, but I mean, if you think about most young riders, you know, aren't going to be able to afford, you know, something like this, to be fair. And it is yeah, it's a very expensive bike. And I think it'll be all the changes that they've made will make it easier to look after. I think that's you know, that's a good touch, you know, with the different paint finishes, and I mean, everything feels good. You know, it feels nice and solid. There's nothing flimsy, or I can't hear any unnecessary rattling from all the fairings. I mean, other than the windscreen being a bit shit. Yeah, it feels like the wind's hitting me here, like just above the camera. So I mean, that was in the high position, right? Okay, I thought that was in the lowered position. Never mind. So I think I definitely think a new windscreen, especially, I mean, if you're going to go for one of these earlier models, I mean, you can wait until next year, you know, when they'll release the Adventure, but I don't know what. I mean, it's a good bike. You know, it is a good bike. But I mean, would you upgrade your 1250 onto the 1300? Is it worth it? I'm going to have to say no, because a lot of the technical stuff on this bike already exists on the 1250. I think the 1250 would be ergonomically more comfortable over this machine. I mean, the seat feels plush. I mean, I've certainly not got no stiff bomb or anything at the moment, but I can definitely tell that over, you know, a solid few hours in this seat, you're going to get a bit of a numb arse. You really are. The brakes are a massive improvement over the 1250, I will say that, but I mean, if you were adamant on keeping the 1250, then you could easily just upgrade the calipers. You know, it's not unheard of, and it is quite a simple thing to do. I mean, if I had those options, I mean, that's what I would do. I really don't think that it's I mean, this gearbox is so stiff, honestly. When you're just using the clutch normally, it is really stiff. I mean, it feels precise, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I really don't like that. That's you know, just now, just riding the bike, you know, not using the quick shifter. I don't know what it is. I mean, it could be the fact that it just hasn't worn in, you know, running properly. I don't know. I mean, this bike's done a few miles now. Yeah, it just doesn't feel quite right. I mean, I'm not sure what this standard equipment comes with this bike either. Like, these handguards are pretty much useless. I know they're you know, copying the Ducati a little bit, putting the indicators in them, which I think is a good idea, you know, because it frees up the you know, frees up the fairings, you know, but you know, if you drop the bike, which you know most people will do, you're either going to smash the guard, you're going to smash the indicators, you know, which is going to cost you hundreds of pounds. So I'm not sure whether that'll be a design flaw, you know, for the off-road boys. And if that's the case, what are the options out there to move said indicators and put them somewhere else? So I don't know, only time will tell. I mean, as you can see, there's no excessive vibe in the mirrors, and we're only doing 50, but no, everything else seems to be perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, if I didn't already own a GS and I wanted a Swiss Army knife, because that's basically what these bikes are. They're a bike of many things, but are shit at all of them. No, that's the wrong way of putting it. Let me reword that. It is a Swiss Army knife, but it isn't good at any one thing. So I think if you were new into the GS world, I would probably, I mean, you're going to have to go for the new bike, aren't you? You know, because obviously it comes with its warranty. It's nice and shiny and new and all that sort of stuff, but I think, is it worth upgrading from a 1200 or 1250 up to this bike? I really don't think it is. As I say, it's got a few nice little creature comforts and things like that, but no, I don't know. I think it's going to have to be down to the people watching, because you're going to have to test ride the bike and so it feels for yourself. You know, I mean, some people are like, wow, it's got radar, wow, it's got this, and wow, it's got that, must have it. I'm not like that. I couldn't really give a shit, to be fair. Is it usable? Is it worthwhile? Is it going to break? You know, is it going to get me into trouble? I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, the engines, you know, the power is brilliant. It really is good. But nah, I'm still, yeah, I'm sticking to my guns. Nah, I mean, if had I still owned my 1200, I wouldn't have upgraded to this bike. Would I have upgraded to the 1250? Probably. You know, and just changed a few bits and pieces and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not. I won't say it's a vast improvement for what the bike was designed to do. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice place to be, and I could literally just keep going on and on and on and on about this for ages. But yeah, I much prefer the look of the older GS. I just do. There's lots of things that I like about this bike, but there's also lots of things that I dislike about this bike. And yeah, it's not enough for me to want to upgrade to it, and especially to get the like for like. So if I was going to get the TE version of this bike, you know, after a few of the upgrades and stuff, I mean, you're looking at like what, 21 and a half, 22 grand. You know, for a bike which you've already got 1200 or a 1250, which will be better. It will be better. This just isn't fleshed out enough. You know, I'm missing. I can feel lots of wind into my midriff. You know, coming from the fact that there's chunks missing out of the bike. Yeah, it's just. I think they should have waited a little bit longer and filled the gaps in. You know, try to at least. You know, if people are going to upgrade this bike, you know, make it worthwhile, the upgrade. I think, as I say, if you've got money to friggin' burn and you're not really bothered about shit like that, you just want something which is new and fucking shiny, then you're obviously going to go for this bike. But I think for somebody who's a die-hard GS fan, you know, loves the touring, loves a bit of the old off-roading and stuff like that, it's yeah, I think they're gonna stick to the original 1200 or the 1250. Yeah, well, enough about that now. Let's get this bike into some twisties and see what she's like. Oh shit, I'm still in bloody road mode. Oh well, let's just throw it in and see what happens. Yeah, very nice, very responsive. Suspension feels good. Hard on the brakes are nice. Yeah, quick shifter and blipper are just so nice, but just that bloody gearbox on its own. That power comes on much smoother, but lasts a lot longer. I'm not dragging my feet like I were on the old bikes as much. But yeah, it's certainly a more fun road bike, I'd say. But aye, well, a bit shit on road. I mean, it's such a nice day as well. It's a perfect time to do this, to be honest. You know, because we've had quite a lot of bad weather, especially. And besides, yeah, Sam hasn't come with me today either. Otherwise, we've had two of us doing this, but which is something which I'm going to have to get used to, I suppose. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. It feels very agile. Very agile. Yeah, nice little machine. Nice little machine. But yeah, I think the 1200 and the 1250 will do more in terms of what its original design was. I just can't get over that front light. I mean, some people say that they absolutely love it. It looks hideous. Absolutely hideous. I really don't like it. Stupid. The person who made it should be sacked. They should. Another thing as well that I wasn't really too happy with is the fact that they have not yet implemented backlit controls, which is something that I know that GS owners have been screaming for since day one, pretty much. Lots of bikes already come out with the backlit controls already. The GS certainly does not, which obviously is not a deal breaker, but it's just a nice little, you know, like a nice little comfort thing. You know, I'd like to have my little backlit controls, you know, things like that. It's just a nice attention to detail. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? Why is it friggin' telling me what I've got in tyres? Don't need to know that. What did I press? I must have pressed something. No, that's lights. I wonder what this button does. Ah, okay. There we go, into dynamic mode. Just pull the clutch in. Nope, hasn't done anything. Okay, so it needs to be stopped to change that, I guess. Yeah, other than that, it's yeah, I do quite like it. But as I say, would I part company with my beautiful multistrada for it? Not a chance in hell. Yeah, it still sounds typically BMW, obviously. You know, the big boxer engine and things like that. But yeah, that's always been one thing. You know, if you stood on the side of the road and 1,000 GS's past you, they all sound the same, obviously. But you know, even with different exhausts on and things like that, you can always tell the sound of a BMW. And it doesn't matter, the F700 sounds like a BMW, the F800 sounds like a BMW, the GS1200, the 1250, they all sound like a BMW, which there's not, I mean, it's not a bad thing, I suppose, but it just doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't sound like a proper bike. I mean, that's obviously just my opinion. You know, some people say I'm full of shit and some people agree with me, but that's my opinion, not yours. Yeah, I think it's not a bad, not a bad machine. It just yeah, trying to aim it at more of a sportier rider, I suppose. I wouldn't necessarily say younger, although a lot of sportier riders are a bit younger. But then saying that, some of the fastest riders that I know are blokes in their early 60s. I mean, another one of my mates, Big Mike, on the Multistrada review. I've not introduced him to the channel yet, but he's an exceptionally quick rider, exceptionally skilled rider, and I'm kind of hoping that he will come to the channel. You know, so I can get more people's perspectives. I think would be, yeah, a better thing to have. More tools, well, more strings to your bow, so to speak. I'm hoping I'm going the friggin' right bloody way. Typical Saturday traffic. But yeah, I mean, I've actually I've quite enjoyed my little squirt out on this morning. Yeah, nice little machine. Not worth the upgrade. If you're new to GS's, I'd probably go for it. If you couldn't get, you know, like a 1250 or a 1200 cheap enough. I mean, the 1200 comes with plenty of bells and whistles on it. You know, you've still got the TFT dash, you've still got up and down quick shifter, you know, full ABS, a proper windscreen, of course. Yeah, I think it's just going to be down to personal preference. But if it was me, I wouldn't upgrade. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and as always, please like and subscribe if you can. It costs absolutely nothing, and you wouldn't believe how much it helps us out, to be honest. You know, I pay and do for all of this stuff out of my own pocket. You know, I'm not asking for much in return. You know, just to do a quick review, you know, on a bike which seems to be quite popular at the moment. So yeah, as I say, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm just riding back to Lloyd's now, and yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.